Blog Talk Radio.
Hello and good morning. Welcome to Laurie Smith on Blog Talk Radio. It is 5:30 Calgary, Alberta time on Tuesday morning, and I'm so happy to be here this morning just to share some more information regarding child abuse and its effects and prevention and awareness. This is one child abuse survivor to another, and if you're joining me this early in the morning, I just appreciate that very much, and I just appreciate all the support. And anyone who's listening, I hope you get something out of this. If you would like to send me any information, regarding topics that you might be interested in more information on, or if there's phone numbers I can get for you, or anything I can do for you, or you just want to be on the show, please let me know. And you can call my guest call-in number. That's area code 917-889-3736. And yesterday I missed my show in the morning because I slept in, and then last night my show disappeared it disappeared until after midnight because I was still looking for it, and it finally appeared this morning sometime, so that's great. So I don't have to repeat all that information because it was I think that information is just so important because there are so many of us survivors out there who really are still healing and still looking for answers, and there's great information, and that's what I'm doing, just passing this information on. I'm not a counselor or legal aid advisor, can't give any professional advice or counseling. I'm just a one survivor to another, walking out my healing and walking on a path, and I'm just finding that as I look and research this information, I'm actually receiving a lot of support, and there is really good support out there. So I suggest for anyone who is suffering and just can't seem to get past some of these horrific child abuse, leftovers, PTSD and just different disorders and stuff, and if you're just feeling down and depressed, there is help for you, and I just don't want you to give up, and I want you to make the proper phone calls and get the proper help, and then just come and visit my show as a friend, really. I want you to get the help that's out there, which is professional help, as I know that there's certain things that I probably will seek professional help on myself, and this is it's just a great opportunity also just to be another voice out there to say, stop child abuse. It must stop. It must stop now. And human rights abuses, stop human rights abuses. So it's a great medium, and I'm so glad that you're tuning in, and I certainly hope you get something out of it. So we were talking yesterday about an article that I found, www.familyviolence.alberta.ca, and this article is just really good, and it was just all about child abuse and the exposure to child abuse, the impacts that it has, exposure to violence affects child development. That's what we were continuing on last night with. Excuse me. And so I thought we'd just keep going. Children and youth have additional reactions. It says other older children and youth in abusive homes may continue to cope the way they did when they were younger. They may be more aggressive and very watchful or detached and not responsive to their environment. As they get older, they may also have other reactions. Now here's some of these reactions that they're talking about here. It says shame and isolation. Children and youth who in abusive homes often feel shame about their homes and family. Not only is there abuse and violence, but there also may be alcohol or drug use. And isolation. They may avoid close friendships with people their age because they don't want anyone to know what is going on in their family. I'm actually reading right from this article. Seeking alternative family. Children and youth in abusive situations may look for a place where they can feel safe and accepted. This may be a group of friends, a gang, or a community group such as a sports team. There is certainly a risk of young people attaching themselves to a group that is involved in high-risk or illegal activities. So this is all pretty much my story. Taking on adult responsibilities. Some children in violent and chaotic homes take on responsibilities far beyond their years when looking after the household. They may start doing laundry, cooking, or feeding and clothing their younger brothers and sisters. They may try to hide the abuse so they can stay at home and protect an abused parent or younger brothers and sisters. And substance abuse. Some youth may become involved in alcohol and drug use. And that's my story. Running away. Some youth in abusive homes run away in their early or mid-teens and set out on their own. They may return home or be taken home several times before they finally leave for good. The trauma of living in an abusive and or chaotic home changes a child's brain in unhealthy ways, but the brain can heal over time if the child has a safe, predictable, and loving place to live. Suggestions for things you can do to help the children are listed on page 7. So this booklet explains how you can actually suggest things that you can do to help the children if you know, if you work with children who have been abused, or if you work in around that element or that environment. So this article was just great. And it's so true. I know, shame and isolation, seeking alternative families, taking on adult responsibilities, substance abuse, running away, all of these things are just part of the life of a youth whose life has been affected by child abuse. And I know it can happen. For me, I did turn to sort of people who, because I was looking for an escape route, so I just turned to drugs and spent a lot of time high and didn't really care about my future, wasn't looking to the future, and hung around with some pretty dangerous people for a while. And, I'm happy to say that I'm here, but some of my friends aren't that lucky, and some of my friends are also, I don't know where they are, and it's unfortunate because they were good people caught up in bad situations just like myself, and some of their homes were not the greatest. So I got to see firsthand, what happens, to kids who grow up in an abusive home, and even my own brothers. 2 of my brothers didn't make it, and it was always kind of talked about in our family. They were kind of looked down upon because one committed suicide and the other died of a drug overdose, and we sort of shunned them and said, oh, well, it's just their fault because they didn't reach out and get any help. But see, I remember how they were treated as young boys because I was there in the house, and I know what happened to them because I was a witness, and what happened to them was not right. And they took their own lives basically because of it, and I know that's what it was. They just couldn't cope. And I had lots of good friends, and later on some support from different people in the neighborhood. Friends of the family were there to back me up and sort of, they were good to me and treated me well. So I think I had. I got to see a little bit of better behavior than my older brothers did, who didn't get to see so much just normal interaction between families and stuff. So I think that might have had an effect. And who knows why abuse affects one person in one family more than it does another. But it's very true that can happen. And so, yeah, I know firsthand what can happen. And I'm telling you, if you're out there and you're suffering right now, make sure that you do reach out to someone and get the help that you need. And, there's DreamCatchersForAbusedChildren.com. These guys, this is a great organization. They are a 501c3 not-for-profit charity, and they are child advocates, domestic violence advocacy, dedicated to child abuse, and neglect awareness and prevention. And they're soon to have a Blog Talk radio show. This is Dreamcatchers for Abused Children I'm talking about right now. And they have great information regarding child abuse and child abuse awareness and prevention. So I would suggest you get on their website. I know the first time I saw their website, I was just searching around for information regarding child abuse, and I saw their website, and the first time I saw it, I thought, oh, wow, this is really, my heart just kind of, jumped or something. It was like, whoa, this is like, there's healing here, there's information here. I just knew that this was a place where, I could get some good information. And just the fact that these two ladies, Sandra Potter, the founder, Donna Kashir, she's also kind of one of the beginning people involved, and she's an author, and she's going to be doing the Blog Talk radio show. And the two of these ladies, two moms on a mission, quote unquote, they really have given their lives, dedicated their time and their lives for child abuse prevention and awareness, and to raise awareness and get the information out there for you and me. And I tell you, I stand with them, and I just support them, and I'm a volunteer with them, and I just hope that I can just keep spreading the word and passing the word on, because they do some great work. And if you need help, there's phone numbers on their website. There's phone numbers listed for, almost all the phone numbers are there. I would suggest you just get on there and then take a look. And if you need help, make sure that you make those phone calls, because you do not want to suffer in silence. I know when I first started, the reason 2 years ago I decided to actually, it's a little over 2 years now, but I decided to get involved instead of just sitting on the couch. I saw something on TV that just bothered me, and my whole life I never, except for the people that directly knew the abuse was going on, which there were a couple of people in a family that knew, the rest of the world was pretty oblivious to the fact that I was abused. They just thought I was a young punk who was partying and, wasn't, just kind of irresponsible and just kind of not planning for my future, and nobody really would have thought that I was abused because I never said anything and just kind of kept it internalized. Just my closest friends would have known. And so I never really reached out. And so about 2 years ago, I saw something on TV that just changed my mind. And it was a woman who was abused in Afghanistan, and there was going to be no help for her. And she was on. They had this hidden camera, and I thought, here's a woman who's laying on the ground, has no human rights whatsoever, not even the right to life. And then I thought about my own life, and I thought, this is so sad. I'm sitting here and I don't like what I see, and I didn't like the way I was treated, and I didn't like the way that my family was destroyed. And I thought, why am I just sitting here? Why am I not saying something? And I thought, okay, well, if I want other people to tell the truth and tell their story, because I am a truth seeker and I believe that telling the truth is the only way to go. We're all responsible for our own actions and stuff. And I thought, if I'm going to be asking people to tell the truth and to tell their story because it's important, then I need to be able to tell my story. And I thought, I have a really important story to tell. And for some people, they might not think so, but I lost 2 brothers. And one of my brothers was actually murdered many, many years ago. They first said it was murder, then they said it was an accident. That's the FBI I'm talking about. Then they closed the case on, that they weren't sure. They think it might have been an accident, but whatever the case, one of my brothers was murdered. Then 2, one died of a drug overdose, the other one died of a suicide. And that's just not the kind of stuff that happens, to people who are just having a wonderful life and a great home life. Most people that knew my parents loved my parents, but they didn't grow up in the home. And like I was talking about the day before, I was always crying and sort of a miserable child, and everybody thought that I was just bad and needed discipline. And the reason I was crying is because our home life was just so horrible. And I actually wrote it in a blog now, Not So Fond Memories, Growing Up in an Abusive Home. And that blog, I would like to tell everyone, is graphic. And if you have any reason to think that it might trigger you for abuse, like self-harming and stuff, then I would suggest you don't read it. I've gone into detail regarding the abuse that my mom and my dad directed towards me, and I'm telling you, it's not a pretty sight. And what I'd like for you to do is, if you're out there suffering right now, make sure that you make the phone call, get the help that you need, and do not suffer in silence any longer. It's not funny, and you do deserve to be well. You do deserve to have a good life. And it took me a long time to learn that myself, that I was worth something and that I did matter and I did count. So I'm passing that on to you. You do matter, you do count, and make sure you get the help you need. Call 911 down in the States. I have the numbers for the States, but not handy. But here's the Canadian number, Child Abuse Hotline, 1-800-387-5437. Here's Crisis and Suicide Helpline, 403-266-1605. These are pulled right out of the phone book. Family violence information, 310-1818. Kids Help Phone, 1-800-668-6868. And here's Calgary Women's Emergency Shelter, 403-234-7233. So I hope you'll join me again. I'll be back here tomorrow morning at 5:30, same time, and Mountain Standard Time. And if you have any topics you'd like brought up, or you'd just like to be on my show, make sure you do call in, 917-889-3736. And I look forward to hearing from you, and I'm so glad that you joined me, and we can just raise our voices together and say stop child abuse and stop human rights abuses. And you just take care of yourself and make the phone calls and get the help you need. Get on the web. check out dreamcatchersforabusedchildren.com and have yourself a great day. My thoughts are with you, and I just hope that you're well, and make sure that you're okay. Talk to you soon.